Hello guys, it's Paula back to work with you guys on how to start a little golden book, how to take the cover off, and how to make the pages work in your signatures rather than just folding the long page in. So hopefully I can remember how to do it myself because people forget sometimes. Now, I know how to cut it open. I use my big old box knife. Now, some people use just a regular knife, but I go all box knife. I go out and get the box knife out of the garage. No, I have my own. Never thought I'd have my own box knife. Okay, so this is the book we're going to be doing, the second bunny book. And it's not a bunny, obviously. It's an Easter book. Easter book. It's not an Easter book either, really, but we're doing it for the Easter season. Now, I might throw something Easter in here, but most likely it's going to lean more on the fuzzy duck. Okay, and it's perfect for this time of year. All right, so what I do is I turn my book like this, where the front cover is facing me. And I pull the pages back and hold right here on the spine. Now, you want to do that so that you can cut this way rather than into like your paper. You don't want to cut like that. You want to cut down the front, and you keep your paper separate from your cover. Now try to get it as far over, and try not to be as crooked as I was right there. See, look at that. But that's not a big deal. It's easy to clean up. Now we're going to do the same thing with the back. We're going to push the pages over, and I wish I could do it where you guys could see this way, but really the best way to do it is to stand it up, okay, and hold them back, and just don't cut your finger in the process. Okay, now there we go. Now I do use the box knife to unhook the staples, but first let's clean the edges of our book up. Now my thing is to just keep it from being all shabby, because listen, this is going to be covered up with the fabric, and on this little book the fabric's going to be yellow. Okay, now I haven't decided on the lace yet. You never know about me. It could end up any color. So let's see. Let me get going here. Now, see how much straighter that is now? And really it's not going to matter, because we're going to, like I said, we're going to cover up the spine. But it does make a nice mess on your desk. I just had my housekeeper here. She doesn't clean my desk, but you know, the rest of my house smells really good right now. Except my husband's homesick. He's, that part is not easy. Okay, so we got the front cleaned up. So now let's clean up the back part of the book. And we're going to do it the same way, except on the back part you can actually see down this little line to know that that's how you want to cut it straight. You know, the little line, the little indentation before the spine. Okay. My favorite thing in the world is doing these little journals. I love doing other things though. Don't get me wrong. I've loved these bunny books because they're different. I mean, you make them completely different than you would any other book. Okay, so here is but they do take twice as much paper, so I have to charge just a little bit more, but not a lot. Okay. Okay, so there we go. That is done and ready. Now, let me get all these little pieces of book over here into my trash. I hope you guys are able to see what I'm doing. I'm really trying to stay further in. Okay, now what I do, rather than cutting this off, you want to save your signatures. But let me tell you something very important you want to do now. Okay, let me find my pencil. You want to take a pencil and you want to, in the kind of like in the middle of the book right here, between the top and the bottom, as close over as you can get it, you want to write number 1. Okay? And so forth and so on. Because this is number 2, number 3. You want to do that before you take your signatures apart, because it will make a difference in getting them in the book in the right place. Number 4. You can tell this is an old book. Let me see. I don't know if we did if we looked at the copyright on this. Copyright 1949 was the original, and it was renewed in 1977, and this one was the 19th printing. So this was a popular book. Okay, 5, you know, especially to have 19 printings of it, you know, that's a lot. This is 7. I think I just wrote 17. See, you got to pay attention. I'll make boo-boos more than I'd like to say. Okay, 7, 8, 9. When I first started making these, oh my gosh, at that time I wish there had been somebody to show the, you know, just like this. But I have to tell you that I learned it from Gail. Now you guys, some of you guys may know how to do it already, but I did have someone ask me to show how to do it. But you have to write the number on every single page. So you got to stay in order. Sorry. Little pigs, look at them. Aren't they cute? Along with their little buddy. Come on, paper. Looks like he has a little pig buddy. Come on. Oh, looks like he's found somebody that looks just like him. Wrote the wrong number again, guys, because I'm trying to look at the pictures and do it at the same time. Okay, usually they're 24 pages. I've not ran up on one that's more than 24 pages. So that helps. Now, we're going to take it apart, and then I'm going to show you how I... there's staples right under here. You can feel them and see them in some cases. I take my box knife and go around those staples, you know, so it makes them easy to access, because we're not going to need this part. And you know, when I first started doing this, I don't know if my staple remover is going to help or not, but I thought I'd give it a try. You never know. Could get lucky, right? Nope. So you got to be very careful doing this, okay? I just cut it the best I can, as close to it as I can, and then I kind of get the paper across the top so I can lift down there and see the staple. I can hear it. Okay. Some of them are harder to get out and then the others. Okay, so this looks like the front. Let me see. Yeah, it is. So now, oops, see, it already put, that was pretty easy. I use this box knife because I have found I can get the staples out easier with it. Don't ask me why, but I always want to move my fingers back, because you could shove like this, you know, and because you are kind of wildly trying to pull out this staple. It's not loosened yet. Whoops, there it went. But I'm afraid it might be just part of it. Yep, the other part's still in here. It just didn't come out as freely. I don't think it's going to either, because we've lost our way of getting in there. So whenever we get the other side out, we will concentrate on getting that part out. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the back, since I know the stapler is also in the back. Okay. I'm sorry, the DOG is about to cry because she hears her daddy going out the door to get his prescriptions. So if she gets too rowdy, I'll put her in her crate. Usually she'll let me do whatever, as long as she's been out, you know, and everything is protected. I'm telling you, I don't know. There's one little side that's difficult. Looks like we have a little tear right here, and I'll have to fix that, but that's not a big deal. Now, that's not something we did. It's just something that has happened. Okay, so I'm going to try to get under the front. I find it's easier to get under the front than the back. Don't ask me why. It's just been the way I've done it, and it's worked out. The first time I ever did this, it was really quite a joke. I had this book so torn up, and I even tore out where the signatures sew in, and so I would have to figure out, you know, okay, how am I going to get that out of there? Okay, let me see if I can get this one to. This is more mutilated than the normal book I do. Let me just put it that way. These are harder staples, but most of the time, guys, don't let it scare you, because most of the time it is easy to get out. Easier than this. Okay, so now I've got both the back staples straight. So this should pop, one side should pop out. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know who stapled this book, but they did a good job. Sometimes you have to just go ahead and lift it up to get the staple to come off. See it there? There we go. This must have been torn and I didn't notice it. So, or I might have done it myself. You never know, but I can repair it. There's the other part on that one side that we got the big part out. Now let's see if we can get it to lift out. Now that we got the other side off, or straightened out the, see, this one is, it must just be really rusted in there. Sometimes you can get some really rusty, here, let me try this. Now I bet I can get my staple. That's what you do. Use your staple remover. When you get really close, okay, always close up your blade when you're done with it so you don't run the risk of stabbing yourself in the process of taking your book apart. There you go. It came right off. Now, let's clean up this mess so we can start working on the other portion. Now, you're going to have in your, with your book, you're going to have all these little separate signatures. See? But you want to keep them together. Oh, wait a minute, they're still together. Let me get them apart here. Yeah, usually it's right in the middle. There's signature 1 and signature 2. Okay? The reason I know is this page number 12 is 12 and 13 is where the signatures separate. So now you're going to take out the one that says number 1. And you can see why this would be confusing as I go along if you don't put the numbers on there. Because the first time I did it, I did not put the numbers on there. And I had to Google the story. This has been a long time ago. So you want to take the first page out. You know, it's like the first page of cardstock or whatever, but it's the first page of the signature. So I'm going to flip it over with the front side down. Now we're going to go to the next page and do the same thing. This is the front, number 3. Flip it over and put it on top of the other one. And you're going to do that with every one that we take apart. Here's number 5. This is the front. We're going to flip it over. So now you'll see what I'm talking about. This is the first signature. It has 3 total sheets. If you counted all 4 sides, or all 2 sides. 1, and then it goes to 2, and then there's 3. Do you see what I'm saying? And here is 4. And then so on and so forth. It just continues that way. So you want to keep them face down so we know we've got them in order. And here is number 13. Look at those little dogs. Close it, flip it over, put it on top of the last one. We're going to do the same thing. Front side, flip it over. 17. Turn it over. Okay, so you're working with 6 individual pages. Okay, so what we do now is we move that to the side, and I'm going to bring over a stack and show you what you need to do to be ready for this. Okay, so you're going to cut out a 3/4 inch strip like this, and this strip is 2.5 inch wide. That's how wide they are. They're both 7 and, let me look, I'm looking here, 7.5, just barely over 7.5 in height. Like, I'm trying to look here. Anyway, so 2.5 by a couple little marks past. I don't even know what those are. 8ths. Just ignore that. Just do 7.5 plus a dot or 2. Okay, and then, because I'm terrible on my measuring, if it's not quarters and halves and 3/4 or wholes, I get all jumbled up, so I don't even think about it. Okay, I know that's called dumb, but I'm not dumb. I'm actually very good at math, but I cannot remember when I sit down to look at the measurements on a ruler. I get confused at 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 5/8. You get my drift. Okay. So now you could see these are both the same length, and we're going to use those on our paper. So you take tea stain paper, cut it in half evenly, okay? And take your very first page, okay? You see that it's long here, okay? Now, we've got it facing up toward us, up front, up top. And so what we're going to do, and you always want to fold toward yourself, okay? So we're going to, let's see, let me get forgot to have my measuring tool over here. I've got stuff everywhere. I'm sorry, the dog is playing with her cat ball. It has bells in it. So you want to take the very first top page of the Fuzzy Duckling. You want to put it on, let me look, 5 3/4. Okay? That's the same size that your pages will be. Okay? The paper inside your book will be 5 3/4 wide. That's with it folded. If you were measuring out a whole piece, it would be twice that. Okay, so 5 3/4 is where you want to put this. And for some reason, I'm trying to remember if that's how much we folded in. Let me make sure, because I've already got the pages cut. I have to think about this every time I do it. So this isn't anything new. So I want to do 5 3/4. It would help to get back on 5 3/4, wouldn't it? Sadie, no. Somebody's trying to cross over to a no part of the bedroom or the craft room. Okay, so see, if you put them both at 5 3/4, you will see that is correct. See right here. So you can get a straight edge to do that if you want. I just mainly keep this at 5 3/4, hold on to it, and then fold or score on your scoreboard or your trimmer. And then when I'm done, I'll tell you exactly how much you're scoring or how much you're folding over. Now, this will be fine because your words and so forth don't start until they get over a certain width. Now, you'll be able to see this, so don't be weary about that. Okay, so it ends up being almost an inch, but I would say between 3/4 and an inch. Okay, let's see, I'm thinking. Okay, so now we've got this folded forward. That's where your tea stain paper comes in, okay? We've got the height measured. We cut this in half from a 10.5 or 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Now, you're going to notice that this paper is not quite big enough. But we're going to take it all the way over to the edge. This is really hard to show on camera because I've watched Gail do it. Now you can see that it's shorter than your book, and your book needs to be the height here that we are here. So you will have to trim this off as well. So that's what we're going to do first. Pull out we'll do more than one so it makes more sense to you guys. I know it's kind of confusing to me too. Okay, so we're going to cut the height, which is just barely over 7.5. Now you want to look before you cut off the height and make sure you're not cutting into anything important. So over here, I would make sure I'm not cutting into this copyright stuff. Sometimes you can cut at the top, sometimes you can cut at the bottom, but you do lose just a slice of your book. So 7.5, just barely over 7, between, yeah, 7.5. Okay, now let me look. Yeah, now you're going to cut. This is the amount that you lose, either at the top or the bottom of the page. You just want your measurements on these pages to be the same size as the measurements in your book. Okay? Everybody measures a little different, so that's why I'm saying that. Okay, so now we know we've got this back up here. We're going to bring our tea stain paper back. I'm going to turn it sideways. And because this is shorter, if I put it all the way up to here, you would have this much sticking out. So you want to put it all the way up to the outer edges of the book. Make sure it's as straight as you can get it, because I'm going to turn it sideways. Make sure it's very straight. Going to have to use your straight on the sides and straight up and down. Okay, so you want to make sure that portion's straight. I hope this makes sense. And this portion's straight. So the right side of the page, make sure this coffee stain paper is even, okay, and straight. And then at the bottom, make sure the coffee stain paper is even and straight. Okay, now I'm going to show you. The 2.5 by 7.5 plus is the same height of the tea stain paper. See right here. So there's two things you can do. Let me make sure which side I'm on. Okay, we're going to use this strip, and this is going to be a pocket. So you have a choice, you know. But the first thing I do is, I'm going to turn it where I can use my right hand. Make sure it's still straight. Because I'm paranoid, I double check and double check. You can never be too sure that it is lining up. Because, you know, measurements are not a perfect science on these trimmers. I'll just tell you, I have found that out several different times. Okay, so I'm going to lift this up right here, and I'm going to put some glue underneath. Now, remember, this is the part that's folded to the front. See right here. Okay, and that's the first few are the hardest, and then it just kind of gets real simple once you get it in your head exactly how you're going to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of glue right here, right down the edge. Not so much it drains out onto the paper or spreads out onto the paper, but I will tell you, you still need to make sure it doesn't do that. Okay, now that we've got the glue on, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back where you guys can see better. Line it up here, line it up there. It's not going to matter if it seeps out a little bit onto the book portion, okay? You just want to make sure the sides are straight so that the pages are straight. Oh, crud. I knew if I ever demoed this, it would not be easy to do because it's a clumsy kind of thing. Or maybe it's just me, you guys. You know how I am. All right, you push this down and you rub the glue on here. Now, your paper is attached, but I wouldn't be flopping it around. But I'm going to move it to show you how it's looking, okay? So we've got this attached here with just a little bit of glue because we're not finished. You open that up and you've got page 1, okay? Now, right here, you're going to add this strip. On this side, the side we just glued on, we're going to add the strip right here. Now, keep in mind that when you glue cardstock onto flimsier paper, you're going to have, when you turn the pages, it's going to be a little bit stiffer. So, I just put glue on this so I know I stay inside the zone. Now, this isn't going to be a pocket here. This portion is not a pocket. Okay, you just want to make sure you got your edges all covered. because you know how it is once you got to have your corners down. Okay, that's what I'm more concerned about, is the two ends, and then I do it in the middle. And I usually try to pull my fingers down and get whatever excess is hanging over. Now we're going to line it up here at the end. You want to see just a little bit of the book page right there. See how I did that? I'll hold it up in just a second. See? And there's how it's going to look when you open up your first page to your journal, depending on where you put your first page. I just kind of scatter them out throughout the book. But this is, like if you were going to put it there, this is how it would look when you open it. And then you'd have page 1. And then you continue, when you stuff your stuff in, your further pages, they would stuff here. But another very important thing, when you turn this, when you have this first little strip right here, okay, you flip it over, this is where we're going to put the pocket. Now, you could put another little strip, or you could have another, you could have a pocket. Now, this is going to go down. Let me get it down here where you can tell. You got your fold right here, so you just want to put it just right there, so you can still turn your page freely. But you can put some flat things in here, you know, like a journaling card or whatever. Now, you know that you only put glue down the right, down the across the bottom, and down the left side. I got to get my wipey. My glue is at the crazy point. I was hoping I'd have a new one open by now, but you know how it is. You can't waste. Okay, now you want to make sure whatever you're doing this just like you would do a pocket, that you were going to glue, you know, something you were going to glue 3 sides and put down as a pocket. And the less glue around the outsides, the more space you have on the insides. But remember, this is going to be moved around because it is a pocket, and it's going to be flipped. You know, you're going to be flipping your book around open with the pockets. Make sure you ink everything before you put it in your book, and make sure you're only putting one side down at a time till you know it's straight. Okay, and then check immediately to see if you're, you know, anywhere you shouldn't be. Now, I'm going to tell you, I know I'm picky about glue, and I can be the glue crazy woman, but see this glue right here that just seeped out? I did probably over glue right there, I confess, but you want to make sure none of the glue is anywhere, because it will glue the pages together. Okay, I've come close, but not super close. So you want to look along here, make sure there's no glue right inside the seam. Let me get in here, make sure I'm not seeing any glue. Okay, now it looks like we've got all of that on correct. If you ever have any of your line up here wrong, you know, too long, you just be careful not to cut your coffee stain paper, and then just trim it up. Okay, it's not like we're taking giant portions of the page out. Okay, I just kind of even it up. And the sharper your blade can be, the better too, you know, of course. But I had just changed this one, so I didn't. Okay, so this is the pocket side. This is the outside. So this is the first thing you're going to see. This is where you laid the coffee stain paper on top of the folded forward piece. And then you covered this to cover the seam. Left a little bit of the book right there. And you open it, and now you have this pocket. But that's not all. When you open the next page, See how you have this open space here? There's 3 things you have to do. If you don't glue this right here, it's going to cause you problems. So I would suggest you do this before you do the pocket, because, you know, it would be easier to get to. Like right now, I'm having to hold it up because it's tighter now that I've put the pocket on than it would ordinarily be. I hope this is not confusing. We're going to do more than one so you can see. In our next video, we will start working on embellishments. I know, it seems like we were just doing that. Things are moving along. Okay. I'm getting back into my normal routine. You know, it seemed like after Christmas, I had to get my act together. You know, you lose your mojo over the holidays because you haven't done anything. And so, all right, I think we got all the glue off. So now what do? We lay this face down and set it to the side. And we keep them in order the whole time we're working on them, okay? It's just real easy for it to get confusing if we don't. Okay, here is page, which is the front of the next sheet of paper, okay? We're going to do the same thing. We're going to line it up on our cutter, our trimmer, and I give this thing something, a different name every day. Now, if you want to score this to make it easier to fold, I would say just go from the top and do it very gently. Now, this is one of those situations where you're going to be on the letter right here. But you have to make a choice. Do you want to stitch it in or fold it once it's in the page? That doesn't happen very often, but it did in this situation. I've had different things, various things happen. See, it's right on that. You should be able to see it. Yeah. Okay, so now we've got, you want to double check it after you fold it. Make sure it's still on the 5 1/4 or 5 3/4. And again, remember that you want to line your stained paper up even on both sides. Now this one, for some reason, I got really short. Let me use it last. I think I picked it up from the wrong side. Okay, we got to measure the top and cut it too. Let me make sure the top is where I want to cut from. So there's a lot of things to double check when you're doing this to not take a chance at messing your book up. Okay, 7 1/2 plus a few. So basically you're going to be cutting off right here. You see the first 1/4 inch line. That's how much you're going to cut off of each page. We probably should have cut them all at once. It would have been less confusing. I just kind of do it all together and makes it easier for me. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and line up some glue right here on this edge. Oh, she heard a car door outside and she thinks it's Rick. Sadie, no, Mama's on video. Don't embarrass Mama. Nobody thinks you're a dog except the people who are listening. Gotta be human-like. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, so line up. I might have to put her in a crate somewhere. Sorry. Okay, so I'm lining this up on both ends while the glue is wet. And then you're going to push it down, just like that. The first thing I do every time is look and feel to see if there's any glue right here. There is none. And then you want to flip over here and make sure there's no glue over here. And there is none. Okay? Now, we're going to go back here. Everything's lined up like it should be. So we're going to take our next strip, which is this small strip, and we're going to put glue on it. She heard the neighbors next door, so now she's calmed down. She realizes she's hearing things. Sadie, no, no. You know, there's one thing about video and you can't control your animals. You just don't know what they're gonna do. Okay. I hope this is helpful. I don't have the girl's name in front of me, but I hope it's helpful to everybody to see that there is a way to add extra journaling paper. It adds extra paper, and it adds a pocket. So, and you can put it in through your signature. You can bound it with your book. So that is definitely a good thing. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to get that on straight without... I always like to leave a little bit of the page so I know it's straight. I can tell by that if it's straight. Okay, now again, you want to check for any glue. Trying not to take forever here, guys. I will show you too how you, once you have a few of these made, we'll make one more, and then once we have them made, I'll show you how you can stack your papers inside each other. Okay, now we're back over here to put on our next pocket. So, again, you're going to glue the 3 sides, 2 small sides and 1 long side, which is the bottom of your pocket. Okay. I'm real funny about pockets. I know we're getting a little bit of ink, but I like my pockets to be secure. Because when you start taking stuff in and out, you know, and you think of glue, it changes the whole situation. You know, it can be easy or hard. Okay, so here we are on the front portion, and we're going to put this pocket right here. There is several different ways to do these. And I think sometimes I do them slightly different than I do other times. So it doesn't matter if it's in front of the story or behind the story, but I fold forward so that I'll always remember that I went forward. And then I can have consistency. Whichever way you go, you want to make sure you do it that way every time. But this does add a little bit of extra bulk, because you've got this extra page and you've got the pocket with the cardstock on the front and the back. So, and I put this down before gluing under the next picture. Okay. Just want to make sure all the sticky's gone. Check both sides, because it likes to ooze out. Got a little bit of extra length right there on the side of the pocket, so I'll just trim that off. Otherwise, we're good. Okay. There we go. That's our second pocket. And again, this is a the way to be able to bind it into your book. Now, you're going to turn it over face down and put it on the one you just did previously. We're going to do one more on camera, and then I hope you guys can see I got my hands full, so I haven't really been paying close attention. Now that one's going to slightly cut his head off, just slightly. But you know what? Honestly, it's the whole point of, I mean, how many of you really are going to read that story more than once? It's just the thought of having the story in with the cover. Especially if it's super vintage. You know, you want to hang on to it. So you want to fold that down, which is close to an inch, 3/4 to an inch. It should be the same every time. It's 3/4. Okay, now let's make sure that fold is not on anything important, and it's not. Okay, so now we have it folded forward to the first page of this group, and I used really light tea stain paper, but you can see in person that it's tea stained. I'm using a lot of pastels, and so when I do that, I like to do it lightly. You know, I don't want it to be super dark. Okay. I guess the dog got tired of waiting on someone to open the door. She just calmed way down. Okay, so we're got our glue on here. We're going to line it up with the front part of the book on both ends. Oh crud, I forgot to trim that top part off. And that's another thing, I would trim that little top piece off every time. I would do all of that. I cut out all my pieces. I cut out my tea stain paper. I would go ahead and get everything scored forward and keep it in order. Trim this little 1/4 of an inch off the top or bottom. And then when you sit down to actually glue, you're ready. Do you know what I'm saying? It just makes it faster because see, now we got to lay this down here and trim it. And it's, you know, now you've got glue, you've got, you know, all this stuff to get on your blade. I'm going to kind of wipe it off. I tell you, I go through blades like crazy. I don't know about you guys. Of course, I'm making one book after another usually. Okay, so the inside is fine also. Now, instead of putting our pockets in that piece of trim on, like we have the last 2 times, let's glue the portion underneath, which we forgot to do on the last one. I just, see how much easier it is? See how it comes out? If you do it before you put the other stuff on, it will give you less grief. Okay. So I'm just going to put it in here. It doesn't have to be anything perfect. The main thing is just keep it down. I try not to put it all the way to the edge. That way I don't have a lot of leakage on my glue. Yeah, see, you get all that done before you put your pockets on. You're better off. Go ahead and put your tea stain paper on. And then you'll see that it makes a big difference. See? Okay, so we're going to put the little piece of trim right here. And I hope you guys have been able to see this whole time. I would feel bad. But I still have 3 pages we could go back and do if that happened, right? Okay, now turn this around. We're going to put it on this edge. And you can tell that I'm not super consistent in how I put something together. If I weren't trying to explain it and do it at the same time, I think, you know, I am more so. But when you're sharing it with other people, it's really, when I watched the video whenever Gail first did it, I was confused. So don't expect to not be a little confused. It's hard unless you've done it a few times. It's hard. I mean, the first several times I did it, and the first book I did after Christmas, where I hadn't done it in a while, I had to really stop and think, you know. So, all right, so we've got that part on. I'm going to go ahead and trim this little bit right here. That's slightly off. Now, make sure I saw some glue there. Now I'm going to open it up, and we're going to put the pocket right, the pocket right here. Now, let me see which side is up. Make sure I don't have any pictures upside down. some of these not Heidi Swapp, Paige Evans. She designs for Pink Paisley. Some of her little stripes and checks and so forth end up having some. My dog just distracted me. I'm sorry, you guys. Sadie, go lay down. I lost my train of thought. Sometimes she'll have pictures on these little sample strips, and you want to make sure they're the right side up. I don't know why I made that so difficult. Sadie's trying to climb in between a bunch of bags that I keep my totes that I take to retreats and so forth underneath my other table. Listen, I've outgrown this room. But anyway, she's over there trying to figure out a way to get on the other half of the room because I have it blocked off. Okay, I think maybe I got rid of that little bit right there. All right, so you're going to lay it down here, bottom side toward the picture, and then make sure you have fold space. Okay, and we do. So we have pocket number 3. So you see where this is going. We've done half of the pages. Half of them have, or all of them have a pocket and a strip on them. But the nice thing about it is it looks nice, you know. You don't have to worry about it looking sloppy. And you don't have to worry about those pages being folded out. And you have to open them before you can get to, you know what I'm saying? It starts to be hard. And I know people have said over the years that, why do you fold those? Why don't you just bind them? Well, it's because they're quite a bit longer than your normal page would be. Okay, so we have finished this one. I gotta find my glue stick. And let's see. Got some glue on that paper right there. You don't take the numbers off the pages till the book is bound. I forgot to tell you that. So there we go. So we've done the first 3 here, and I'm going to show you how it works putting pages into the book. Now, mind you, this isn't how I'm going to do this book particularly, but I am going to use a few of the pages. Okay, so here we go. Let's say this is the first page when you open your first signature. Okay, so you put your paper right here. You'd put one here. Let's say we're going to do 1 or whatever. And then you would flip it up, and there's the first page of the book. Let's see, this is what happens when you get glue in there. And then you've got your second page. So here's where you stuff your next piece of paper. And then you open it up and you're on the back. Okay, but you just repeat that over and over. And now if I want to add a second one here, I can, you know, because it's all going to work out. Wait a minute, I did that wrong. Don't ask me. Okay, I was supposed to put it underneath. Okay, so you do like this. Okay, that's page 1. And you're going to put this one here. And then you're going to put... I did this backwards is what the deal is. Normally, I put this pocket on this side. So it's going to make it a little bit different, but it's not that big a deal. So this is going to be your first page. So you want to do it like this. Don't listen to the last way I showed you. You're going to do it like this, okay? Because you're only going to have one book on the back, and then whatever you want to add, you add in here. You know, and then you're ready to add your next, let's say your next part of the story. So wherever you've got your book open and you're filling it in, you just drop the next one here. Okay, and then you flip it over, and then you drop, let's say you're going to drop this one. You drop it right here. And it just, you know, it will go in order. See, this is 8 and 9. But when you take it apart, it doesn't make sense like that, because that's page 5. 5, 6, and 7. But anyway, so I hope that has helped you guys. I hope it wasn't too confusing. If you decide it was too confusing, please let me know. I can answer any question. I'll try if I can understand the question. If we need to do this video during the next book again, so that you guys get it down and I get down how to teach it, we can do that as well. Because, you know, I don't know how to teach everything. I've never taught this, so this was the first time. And it was confusing to me the first time I saw it. So you can expect that to happen. And anyway, that's how we do it. We do it like if we stacked them inside of each other right now. You'd have page 1, 2, 3, 4, then you just keep stacking. So yeah, it's not that hard. Put number 1 face down, put the second one, which would be number 2, but it's the page number's number 3, and this page number is going to be number 5. Now those 3 are ready. Okay guys, we're ready to rock and roll with this. I'll get the rest of those done and get all the pages put together. And we will start, hopefully tomorrow, working on embellishments. I thought what we would do is a lot of collaging for this book. Because I've used up most of the stuff we did together that's in the right color scheme. So I figure we can do some collaging because it's really in right now. I guess it can be spoken like it's the design that's in for 2019 is collaging. Oh, it's pretty sad when you laugh at yourself, but I'm hoping you're laughing with me. So the new design for junk journaling is collaging your embellishments. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do, because we start from the very beginning, tearing the book apart. And we can do that more often if you guys request it. All right, guys, see you next time. Bye.